Let's look at the newly released Dark Souls 3 trailer, shall we? Or at least, some screen caps from it. And of course we have to start with this chap right here. First thoughts, it looks a lot like a giant from Dark Souls 2, doesn't he? What do you think? Vendrick's crown there? Or is this Gwyn, the Giant Lord? A new giant? I'm assuming it's a new character, but ignoring for now that he strongly resembles a giant, you know what strikes me about this? There is, I feel, a definite parallel between this short clip and the Link the Fire ending from the first Dark Souls. The chosen undead held a hand out to the bonfire and was then covered with flame. And I'm going to briefly digress from analysing the trailer to put forth a bizarre theory real quick. Dark Souls universe has parallel worlds that have some degree of interaction with each other and overlap. What if the solution to the curse is consolidating these worlds into one? Or what if it involves prior and future chosen undead? Remember what happened when we combined the power of the Lost Crowns? What would happen if we could control the power of every chosen undead? Which is, in my opinion, essentially what we were doing with the Lost Crowns, because, again, in my opinion, the kings in Dark Souls 2 were equivalent to chosen undead. What if these giants have some connection to that? Well, probably nothing, but you know what? Sometimes it's fun to make crackpot theories. Maybe that giant isn't a giant. Maybe he's just on fire, because it looks cool. Then we have this shot of the bonfire and bodies being dragged. Now, this would tie in with the supposed details of the game, the leaked details that is, where you create bonfires from corpses to some extent. At least I think that is what's going on here, but we'll have to wait for more information regarding that. Sometimes these trailers do have little hints of new gameplay elements though. You know, it's important to remember and consider that when you're viewing them. Good example, Dark Souls 2 announcement trailer. The character, the hero in it, is using power stancing, or dual wielding if you prefer. So who knows what gameplay hints this trailer could have. Now, this shot, this one's interesting. Obviously that ruined city in the distance has similarities to Anor Londo and, in a sense, the Dragon Shrine from Dark Souls 2, yet location-wise it doesn't really match either of them too well, because as we know, Anor Londo is high up on the mountain, in the mountains, and Dragon Shrine is likewise very high up. But you never know. As it happens, that bridge-like structure, you see it over there on the left of Nanorondo, as I shall now call it, it very strongly reminds me of a similar structure in Dark Souls 2. You can see it from Majula, and you go under it and around it, but you never go on it. And it essentially, I believe, leads to Drangleic Castle through the forest area. As for these ladies, they remind me a little of Melentia, who had her belongings all on her back. But these seem more like they've been lumbered or punished with weights almost, like, you have been very bad, now I'm going to strap this thing on you and make you walk around. Or perhaps they're strange growths, but they're chained to them, and well, either way there's a number of them and they seem to be on pilgrimage almost. It appears that Dark Souls 3 has some kind of, how to put it, imminent apocalypse, you have to survive the end of the world kind of thing. Perhaps they are seeking sanctuary. And one of the leaked images from a few weeks ago had what appeared to be a sun that was floating low on the horizon, low in the sky, and leaking some kind of substance. Is this related to that? Perhaps they are fleeing from that corruption. Maybe it was the Chaos Flame and it's leaking chaos all over the place. Who knows? Off topic, but it really did remind me of the Grail from Unlimited Blade Works. Oh boy, this image. Now, this is one that really kind of drives the point home to me. This is a sequel to Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2, the DLC at least, such an emphasis on crowns, and here we have a crown. It makes me think, the DLC and the Scholar update to Dark Souls 2, were they giving us hints for the future? The crowns, Uldir, the Forlorn, could they play an important role in Dark Souls 3? Uldir is the only boss that we can defeat but not kill, for the most part. And I've heard some people saying this isn't a crown, because it kind of covers her eyes, but I would have to disagree personally. For starters, there's the emphasis on crowns in Dark Souls 2, and there's the fact that this looks a hell of a lot like a crown and she puts it on her head. The Xanthus crown isn't technically a crown either, it's a weird ass wrap thing from Demon Souls, but yeah, this diadem-like object really looks like a crown to me, and the strange swirling vortex, the dark sign, a curse. The next shot really makes me think of the dark sign. I mean, look. What is that in the background? A broken circle, no? Strongly reminiscent of the dark sign itself. Go back to the very first Dark Souls trailers from like, I don't know, 2010 or whatever. It was all over the place. The Dark Souls logo with a broken circle representing the dark sign. And if I'm not very much mistaken, Dark Souls was originally going to be called something like Dark Circle or something that had a rather sexual meaning, perhaps, in some ways? But who is this lady? She appears to be human from the prior shot, and she's carefully placing the crown upon her head. And it does appear to cover her eyes, maybe it's too big for her though. And it looks like she has white hair. New character? Probably not Priscilla or Gwendolyn or anyone else who has white hair that we know of. Probably someone new. Her attire makes me wonder, could she be the new Emerald Herald, the new Maiden in Black? Is she going to be the, I don't know, the White Oracle or something like that? Is she an enemy like Nashandra? The fact that we see her in the trailer implies to me that she will be important. And, well, the Emerald Herald was in the Dark Souls 2 trailer, so maybe not. But then again, we don't see her in relation to anything else other than this rather sinister looking crown. But, man, I can't wait to find out more. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Ciao.